Hello everybody, this is Ryan again with the Audubon Society of Western Pennsylvania. And last night we had our first onion snow, and that is a snow that usually it's really light and it comes up after you've planted your onions, and sometimes you'll even see little onions growing up through the snow. And that's a Pennsylvania term. You can read more about it in almanacs. So it's kind of chilly, the snow is melted. I'm just going on a walk along a relatively typical rural road here in southwestern Pennsylvania, and I want to see what's coming up. I want to see maybe some useful or edible plants. I want to see what's creeping up. I want to see if there's anything interesting that's come up. So come along with me and we'll see what we can find. Just getting outside and seeing what nature has to offer. Well, here I found, this is a non-native plant. This is Burdock. This is coming up and then makes those little burrs like that. They sometimes get stuck to your clothing. This is actually cultivated as a vegetable in China. They eat the root of it. So this has an edible root. Over here we have some garlic mustard, another invasive. You can eat every part of this plant. Oh, over here, oh, this is an interesting one. So here is wild parsnip. Okay, so this, surprisingly, parsnip is invasive in Pennsylvania, and it grows along roads and in ditches. The only difference between this parsnip and the parsnip that you would get from your garden is that this one isn't growing in your garden. It's the same species. You have to be careful whenever you're harvesting wild parsnip, because there's a substance on the plants that can give you photodermatitis, meaning you handle this greenery here and then you get exposed to the sun and it can give you a rash. So you want to wear gloves or wash your hands. It's not immediate, but if you're really working a lot with these. So this one, just like a parsnip, it has a root, and that's the part that you eat. Now these ones that grow out here in the woods have kind of tough forked roots, but that doesn't mean that you couldn't clean that off, cut off the greens, and boil that in a soup or something, throw out the tough parts and get the nutrition from it. So there's wild parsnip. So here's another one you probably have coming up in your yard right now. This is white bitter cress, and it makes these little flowers, and this one's already going to seed. All right, so if you get these early, they make a nice addition to salads. They have a little bit of a tangy bite. If you like arugula, those type of flavors, you'd probably enjoy some bitter cress. And of course we have dandelions, and they're just about to flower. There are the buds right there. You can eat dandelion greens. Some people really like them. I prefer them whenever they're really young. And if you have these and you want some fresh young leaves, and but these are old and tough, you can twist off the whole plant, and in a few days new young shoots will come up. And this is an invasive too, so you can pick it, eat it all you want. Oh, here's some curly dock. You can eat these leaves. Probably better to cook them first. They have oxalic acid in them. They're really tangy. Not my favorite, but it's a green that you can eat. I know that sometimes it's hard to stay inside for long periods of time, and this being the season that we're in, more people staying home, I encourage you, get out, walk around, check out what nature has to offer. A lot of our parks and public places like that are open, so get out there, take the family. Of course, be safe, follow social distancing protocol. Take this opportunity to get outside and really enjoy nature. So at the edge of this field we have a little wet area, and there's some cattails that are growing. Now, these are last year's seed heads from the cattail, but look how fluffy this stuff is. If you were out on a cold day and your jacket wasn't suffice to keep you warm, you could take this stuff, stuff it under your jacket. You can make a pillow out of it. Right now the wind is doing exactly what this plant hopes. The wind is blowing this soft fluffy matter around, and each seed is attached to a tuft of it. So now they go off, maybe find a new place to grow. But we also see the young shoots of the cattails coming up. So there's one right there, and every part of the cattail is edible. And if you can pull up a shoot, it's white down here in the bottom, and this part is really tender, especially this time of year. And these taste just like cucumbers. So I'll peel off some of the darker stuff, and I want to get down to the white material at the end there. It snaps right off, and these are a tasty snack. You can add them to salads. So there's another useful plant. Usually whenever you find cattails, they grow in great proliferation. So you're not hurting the population by taking a few. Maybe some of you have seen this plant and wondered what it looks like. It has these spikes sticking out, but they're not sharp. They don't hurt your fingers. This is called Teasel, and this is a non-native plant. This was brought over from Europe. It probably came over in the first shipments of pasturage that people brought from the old world to the new. And over in England, they would actually use these, and they'd on freshly woven cloth, and they'd twist them, and they'd bring up the nap of the cloth, because these were hard enough to be able to bring up the nap, but not so hard that they'd tear or mar the cloth. So here's Teasel. Oh, I think I see some Dogbane. Yeah, here's some Dogbane. All right, so I'm gonna grab a couple Dogbane stalks, find a safe place to check these out. So Dogbane is a meadow plant, and it has a outer bark on it, and that kind of peels away. Now, I don't do this when the Dogbane's alive, but this time of year, this is last year's Dogbane, and if I squeeze the stalk, it splits, and there's a hard inner part like this that snaps away, and if I snap away all four of those little inner parts, I can strip off the outer parts. So Dogbane is a bast plant, meaning it has long fibers, and you can use those long fibers to make cordage or rope from. You can make bowstrings. It's incredibly strong. Now, sometimes at this time of year in the spring, it's been out all winter, and it kind of deteriorates. This stuff still feels kind of strong, so I'm going to take some, crush it up, separate the fibers, and see if I can twist it into a little strand. So here's what the fibers from the Dogbane plant look like when they're all shredded up. This kind of looks like fluffy material, but it's really, really strong. This is some extra. I'm just going to put this up on a tree. Some bird coming by can make a nest with some of that material. And so I have made a 2-ply rope here. Again, it's very, very strong. It's kind of rough. If I had a little bit more time, I could make it a little bit better, but you could keep plying these yarns into twines and twines into rope. And again, something handy if you needed to tie something up, you're out in the woods and found yourself with no string. So I'll put that bit of twine in my pack here for future use. I've come upon some black raspberry canes. These are kind of purplish, and these are just starting to get their leaves. And these will usually fruit in June. And these are a biennial, so the first year the cane comes up and it doesn't yield fruit. And the second year it yields fruit and then it dies back. So whenever you pick your black raspberries, I suggest you enjoy that delicious taste, but then spit the seeds out on the ground. Growing next to it, I see a little dead nettle. Dead nettle is edible. It has a tiny little purple flower in there. And then one of the ways you can really tell that you have dead nettle is that its stem is square. I don't know if you can see that, but it's almost a perfect square. It's not round. So I've just stepped off the road, almost to my house. So thanks for coming along with me as these spring plants come up. I'm going to keep documenting them. I have some ones coming up that I've just been going out in the woods looking for to see if they're up yet. So please check out aswp.org for more information. Thanks for spending some of your time with me today on this little hike along a country road, and I'll catch you in the next video.